innovations in stewardship, welcoming as a spiritual practice, democracy and congregational representation, prophetic panels, international community, digital community, a heck of a lot of acronyms. So many experiences occurred at the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly, some of them with better video quality than others. There are so many stories, so many opportunities and events that if we tried to share them all, our service would be running even longer than it already is. In each and every moment of those 5 days, there were multiple things happening simultaneously. Multiple programs, multiple conversations, multiple greetings, multiple tweets and Facebook posts, multiple realities and multiple emotions. Every moment of our annual General Assembly, it was a microcosm example of our faith tradition and our community. No single story or experience can capture all of who we are and all of what we do. And for me, that last week of June in Columbus was especially full of those multi-dimensional moments. Several times throughout this annual gathering of yellow shirts and Birkenstocks, I found myself in the midst of moments that brought this strange combination of exhilarating joy and righteous anger. I found myself, as I had at every GA I'd attended, incredibly grateful for our faith and our larger community, and also really, really frustrated by them. And it was in one of those multi-dimensional moments of joy meshed with anger that a colleague of mine shared a powerful mantra that has helped me navigate my time at General Assembly and continues to move me as a person of faith. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. This was what was going through my head as myself and other graduates of the Multicultural Leadership School took the stage to light the chalice in our opening ceremony. We were excited to not only be bringing our experience of Unitarian Universalism, but also excited that it would be the starting worship note of this annual gathering. The voices of UUs of color, front and center, claiming our space in a faith tradition that has too many times made us feel like we don't belong. Every moment, beauty. But that joy and that excitement was meshed with pain and anger. Just minutes before we took the stage, words had been spoken that many of us did not agree with. In the opening ceremony, the president of the Union of Reform Judaism spoke at length against an upcoming business resolution that had affirmed the rights of Palestinians by preventing the association's investment in corporations that were complicit in the violation of human rights. Myself and others watched in horror as the opening ceremony that had held so much promise and hope took an unnecessary and inappropriately politicized turn. Every moment, disaster. Do we still go up? Some of us wondered. Do we say something before we light the chalice? In the end, we went up to that stage and we took the space that we knew was ours and lit the chalice as planned. And we did so with tremendous passion and joy, because in that complicated, multi-dimensional moment, those were still ours to create. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. And these moments of blended beauty and disaster would continue throughout General Assembly. During one of our plenary sessions, a collection was taken to support the Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism organizing group. They had been promised a collection of $60,000. When the money pledged was finally added up, it amounted to nearly $90,000. Our faith and its members showed up. Every moment, beauty. And then, right after that collection, It was time to discuss and vote on that human rights business resolution. Emotions were high and opinions were sharply divided. Amendments were made that frustrated all sides in that conversation, and the vote was so close that a card-by-card count was needed by our tirelessly working GA volunteers. In the end, 54% of delegates voted to affirm the resolution, but a 2/3 vote was needed to adopt it. As I debriefed with a colleague after that session, it was painful to have the joy of such an incredible collection for the Black lives of UU be paired with that failed business resolution. The Black Lives Matter movement, she reminded me, sees that movement for Palestinian human rights as one that is aligned with its own efforts. The Black Lives Matter movement is one of collective liberation, one that does not divide struggles for justice and human rights, but unites them. One that knows that together we can do what we cannot do alone. And like our story with the cows and the hens, the movement for Black lives sees the intersections at play in our efforts around the world and demands justice for all, not just for some. When we collected the $90,000 for the Black Lives of UU group, and then we failed to support a resolution aligned with its values, that mantra returned. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. And we know that that beauty and that disaster went beyond those walls to decisions with the Supreme Court, some which extended the troubles that immigrants are experiencing in our country and the fear of deportation, and others that kept abortion and women's rights health clinics open. And at General Assembly, as we saw the Westboro Baptist Church there to protest us, we surrounded them dressed as angels. Singing hymns like Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, and meditation on breathing. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. Within and outside of our programmed convention walls, these multidimensional moments were a powerful reminder of our faith tradition's power and our responsibilities as its members. They were a reminder that the seeds of both beauty and disaster live within every moment. And they were a reminder that in every moment we have the power to choose what we seek and what we create, beauty or disaster. And that call to choose was made explicit in our final business session. In a responsive resolution written by the youth of color, and the Black Lives of UU group that week, we as Unitarian Universalists were handed the powerful invitation to reaffirm our commitment to racial justice. We were called to look at the ways in which our values, our previous votes, and our bylaws, every aspect of our faith and its democratic process demanded that we commit ourselves to racial justice in our world and in our own communities. And as that youth caucus, the young adults of color, and the members of the Black Lives of UU group took the stage once more, we were reminded that we have the power to create beauty and disaster and have done so in our history. That today and every day we face the choice between those two again. We were reminded that making the choice to reaffirm that commitment to racial justice will not and should not be easy. That choosing to create beauty will be messy and hard because we will be traveling new and unfamiliar paths. We were reminded that choosing beauty requires risk, it requires change, and it requires courage. But those questions, that uncertainty that comes with building a future that we can't yet fully describe, shouldn't keep us from creating beauty. We were reminded, just as Glenn Thomas Rideout pointed out, we can be, we must be, the ones to end our own slavery. We as Unitarian Universalists have that power and that responsibility to embrace the risk that comes with the pursuit of justice our faith so deeply demands. Every moment beauty, every moment disaster. This year's General Assembly was a macro moment for our faith. We as Unitarian Universalists are part of a tradition that reminds us in every moment we have the choice to name, to challenge, and to heal through disaster. In every moment, our Sunday morning practice of welcoming, the ways in which we financially sustain our community and our faith and its life-saving work, and the ways that we go to the streets and to courthouse steps. In every moment, we can choose to create beauty. It is our choice, and it is our charge. At this year's General Assembly, we were charged to do the messy and courageous work in every one of those messy moments of beauty and disaster. We have been charged to transform our world, including our own tradition and its communities, into one that includes, affirms, and celebrates all. We have been charged to live up to the prophetic and healing faith that we know Unitarian Universalism can be, what we know that this world needs us to be. We have been charged to be, as we kind of heard in that video, those moral and social and political defibrillators of our time. We as Unitarian Universalists have been charged to embrace our power and our responsibility to do that risky, uncertain, and sacred work of creating transforming beauty together. And we have been charged to do so next year in New Orleans, where I hope you will all join me.